What if you could slide into 1,000 different worlds where it's the same year and you're the same person, but everything else is different? And what if you can't find your way home? Well, Robert Jeffries and I found the gateway. Now the problem is finding a way back home. This is Stumbling Through the Multiverse, a Sliders recap with Rain Coleman and Robert Jeffries II. Well, everyone, welcome back to the most famous podcast you've ever heard over any other podcast. It is Stumbling Through the Multiverse, the Sliders review discussion cast. I am your co-host, Rain Coleman, the CarefreeBlackNerd. Happy to be here as usual. And I have with me today none other than Robert. Robert, let these folks know what's going on today.
Hey, I'm Robert, Black Adam, Shazam, Remy, Jay. You will get the context once we go through the interview, the review. But yeah, co-host of this esteemed podcast, and happy to, as always, be here to discuss the greatest sci-fi show ever made. So
yeah, we for you podcast listeners out there, we have some guests sliding with us. It's a full four today. We're not.
Yeah, we got we got the Fab Four.
Indeed.
Yes. So if you guys wouldn't do us the pleasure of letting these listeners and viewers know who is joining us on this slide today.
John McGuire. I've known Robert for a hot minute at this point, and so we've actually done a couple of sliders panels at a couple of cons. So
good deal.
I'm looking forward to talking about the episode.
Good deal.
I am Egg Embry, and I have never been this nervous in my life because this may be the last thing I ever do. I have a confession to make. I had never watched Sliders.
Get out of here. Leave. Just leave now. I mean, that's Rain, right?
Yeah, no, that's me. That's my shtick. I have not. I saw it as a child. I have no memory of this show past the images from like stills. So we're on the same page. You're me in this timeline, I guess.
In this timeline, I started with season 3, episode 3. I'm like, I'm good. Let's do it.
Might as well.
There you go.
So, Robert, you wanna take us away?
Yeah. So I'm gonna give a brief recap because it's kind of changing the structure of the show, so we don't spend like 5 hours doing what we normally do. So it'll be a little different, but not too different. But the brief recap of the episode: an electric twister acid test. The Sliders land on a desert world plagued by destructive electric tornadoes, which are being created by the town's controlling elder as a twisted defense mechanism for his protected agrarian community. When the Sliders' presence and malfunctioning timer inadvertently draw the tornadoes into the village, the men are banished and the timer is destroyed, forcing them to sneak back in to rescue Wade and stop the elder. The Sliders discover a world where electric tornadoes are a constant threat, decimating the landscape. They find a secluded village that appears to be the only safe haven, ruled by a seemingly benevolent but dictatorial elder. And that's basically it, because everything else is kind of like giving the entirety of the episode. But they... the gist of it is what do we call it? I call this like the Children of Corn world.
Yes.
Meets Children of Corn meets Twister world, and the Sliders butt heads with a guy who actually created the hellscape that the world is now. So, and Corey Feldman makes a guest appearance. So, by the end of it, they expose that the guy created, this hellish tornado twister world, and in the nick of time, they escape. They escape the world, which is how it always goes. So that's basically it. So let's start with our guest and give let's start with so kind of like how I'm seeing on the square. Let's start with John.
All right.
Let's give your general thoughts about the episode, or like and if there are any like key moments, that stand out to you, performances. I mean, we'll definitely have our favorites, but just give a general idea.
Well, I mean, we've got to start with Corey Feldman, right? I mean, he's giving a full 5 to 10% of his acting ability in this episode. I mean, he's really leaning hard into not emoting in any way, shape, or form, and just deliver the line. What's the line? I'm going to deliver the line. I actually what's so funny is you get the intro credits and everything, and then Julie Benz pops up and whatever. And then I don't know if it was an Corey Feldman or if it was just Corey Feldman. And I went, whoa, we're going to get Corey in this? Amazing. I hope there's vampires in this episode. So that was my first big take. I actually was really excited to see Julie though, because I was like, I haven't seen her in a hot minute in anything. So, and this is right around Buffy time period. So, but yeah, I mean, the kid, I mean, I don't want to just spoil everything as we get into it, but the kid riding the tornadoes, like surfing or whatever, I was hoping they would actually come back to that, and they never really did. So I was a little disappointed there. I was like, oh, this is like Chekhov's gun. He's going to save the day. Didn't happen. So.
What about you, Egg?
Okay, so first time I've seen Sliders, and I did not realize going into this how subversive this was. Okay, when we get to the first commercial break, which is 13 minutes and 33 seconds in, I was like, these guys, the Sliders, they're the bad guys.
Yes.
They're not good dudes. What has Gimli gotten into? Like, this was amazing. I'm like, I didn't realize they're sliding from world to world, blowing up each one and then moving on to the next. I was kind of disappointed after that point because things changed. But up to that point, riveting.
So one of the constant things that one of the things that I think I was unaware of, because of like how much I love the show, is how much they sometimes fuck up these worlds, right? They leave them worse than when they got there. Yeah. And the primary person who does that, Rain, what's his name?
Quinn Mallory. I hate him.
Right. And so the fact that you picked up on that in the first 13 minutes of the episode is amazing, because like if you go to, and maybe there are other Sliders fans who kind of see how they kind of muddle these waters, because what did we watch? We watched an episode from the second season. I think it's not the season finale, where they go to a world where time moves differently, right? And so by the time they get to the end of, let's say, their time in the world, the fabric of space opens up in the sky, and it looks like the world is about to be destroyed. And what I wanted to have happen was they jump through the portal and the world is just completely destroyed. Of course, they saved the day, but that's like the most extreme. I think there's another world first season. They give the world nuclear technology.
Yes.
So now they create a nuclear arms race, and in that case it wasn't Quinn. So they do have a habit of doing that from time to time. And so it leads me into my general thoughts as far as with the episode. So this one normally it's like kind of like low key. It's like one of those kind of episodes, but for some reason I had a lot of fun with this one. And I think it's because the Franklin, I just call them the MAGA Children of the Corn dude, who had kind of David Koresh type of vibe. Sorry, kids. It's like kind of rough, but because we've been looking for like an antagonist, right? Who matters. And normally when we see white male antagonists on this show, they are dressed in business suits and they are evil corporate types. And this guy was like full on into, we're going to torture, we're going to kill. That woman ain't got no birthing hips. She's skinny. And I was just like, Franklin is fucking everything. And so when you realize that he was the one that created this stuff, what happened to his head to be like, in his mind, to be like, you know what? I was a well-known scientist. Now let's go to this agrarian society where we torture and just kill and just kick Corey Feldman out of the, you know, like it was really crazy. Like he was insane enough that I was like, I'm vibing with him. Him and Logan St. Paul should have linked up and slid to different worlds. But I like the fact that the sliders seemed like they were happy. For once, and because there are episodes where they are cutting each other's necks, like they don't like each other at times. In this one, it seemed like they were more kind of like clicked up or whatever. Remy gave more of his random Navy lore, and then got shot in the chest by lightning, which was like blew my fucking mind. And yeah, Feldman was, and I actually liked the world, even with the cheesy kind of special effects. And like I said, you talked about the kid who was hoverboarding on his on his like, I don't know, like X Games board or whatever. I said that reminded me of like the effects from like when Michael Jackson turned from Remember the Time, where he like did the whole turning into the sand person or whatever. So it was kind of a goofy episode, but compared to some of the ones where we've been like, this shit is a 4 out of 10. Like this one was actually, it was fun. It felt kind of goofy and whatever, but you know, those are like general thoughts about it. What about you, Ray?
This sucked. No, I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. So I have to give the caveat that initially those first couple minutes I was disgusted. I was like, this is dumb. They're just doing the same thing again. But what I realized is I have to really check myself when I watch these episodes, because I love this show. Even when we've rated things much lower, I've still enjoyed the show itself. This episode, I think, was getting to me initially because they had so much fun. They had those jumpsuits that were coming from a world that I'm like, why can't we get that? We never seem to get the fun. Like at least in an X-Men comic, every 100 issues you get a baseball issue. We don't get this fun. And I was like, I want to see what they were up to. But like once I got that chip off my shoulder, this episode still deserves some heavy critiques. But to your point, Robert, I'm sick and tired of angry white men in business suit. This villain here, I had so much fun because he was like also villain in business suit, but wrapped in, I don't know, overalls. And he was a very particular like Lex Luthor. He was fun. After everything is said and done, because I still think there's some holes in the story, but I think it's from a 2025 lens and not a 1990s plus lens. But because I was like, okay, there's other factions. There's you. How did you get in control? What is the timeline of the years? Because when these people are grown, your daughter is at least 25. So like when we forgot about machines, but not. And so, but like removing all of that from my critique, I was like, this is just fun because there's no, as an American, I'd have to say a lot of times I'm like, just shoot them. And it's like, well, don't do that. But there was none of that here. All of the violence was like pitchforks, ideology, systemic things that are in this world newly created. And then the weather. It was like, this is like a very extreme Wizard of Oz. This is a very, very dystopian, extreme, nostalgic, futuristic Wizard of Oz retelling from the 90s. And I was like, oh, I love this episode. So I have a lot of critiques, but I am sold on this episode. What can I say? I kind of loved it.
See, this is God, what's the one with the lady Jillian of the
Jillian of the Spirits. Now that's my girl.
Yeah, that's the episode. That's like top tier sliders,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I don't know if it's like in that that spectrum, but it was good enough. There, I will say, as far as what we've seen this season, just like we're 3 episodes into it. One of the things, like, so Egg, you mentioned, kind of keeping with the general thoughts, that the team seemed like villains. So, like, with you having seen, this is your first time experiencing the 4. Yes. What did you think of? What did you think of each of the team, or were there any like standouts?
So as you mentioned, they come rocketing through.
Yeah,
and they're in like a roller coaster or toboggan or something.
Yeah.
In the desert. And they're like, we missed out on $10,000. I'm like, oh, they're thieves. Great, we're good to go. And then they're like, we got no food or water. We got to go into this town and get some. And they're like, maybe we should just wait. And they're like, no. Quinn, no. We're doing this. Here, explore. So they go in. Yeah. And the next time we see them, we cut to other people. But next time we see them, Gimli is stealing water. and the other characters are stealing food, and I'm like, these are my heroes. I came to a new world. I'm taking everything.
Yeah.
What's so funny about that, though? It was just so bold. It was like literally the house is like 20 feet away with windows and everything. And my man is just like, whatever, I'm going to get some water out of y'all's well. And then I'm going to just mosey back to the barn. I'm like, guys, come on now. Make it a little harder to find you know?
Well, that was we always talk about how they don't have any like street sense with each world that they go to. Like it's funny because this is the one time that the professor was not getting it. There are episodes where he is the fastest person in the group. Like in this one, he's just like, well, let's do this kind of creeping thing. The moment, and I know this was one of Rain's favorites in the wrong way, was when they walked into town, as far as like talking about the team, and you see the guy in the stocks, and I'm assuming he's dead because the way that they were like smelling the air, it smelled like he was a corpse, right? Mm-hmm. So I think Rembrandt is the one that says, or Wade, they say maybe we should keep moving, and then Quinn says, nah, we're explorers. And if you know, so Egg, if you go back to the first episode, the only quote unquote explorer on this team is maybe him and the professor, but everybody else kind of unwillingly got kind of, especially Rembrandt. Yeah. So that's why I want to say that it was Rembrandt who was just like, let's keep moving on. And I don't remember this like newfound vibe of Quinn being like, you know what? We see this man dead and stinking in front of us. Let's go into this town. It wasn't even like we need food, we need water. We're explorers. He's like, I want to see what this world is all about. It's just like
no tread lightly.
Right. And there was even a big ass sign that said, we execute.
Like 3 signs, 3 like long.
And so I don't know, like I've never seen Quinn as being as much of a villain as he is like when we do this this podcast. So like I said, I knew that was one of Rain's like favorite moments when he's
I hate him. I do. He sucks, man. He sucks. Jesus.
But yeah, and so you said Gimli, like, so let me ask you, what about Wade and Remy? Like, how did they stand out to you? Like, because there's one thing that wasn't mentioned in this episode about Remy's background, and you don't know that about his background. So like, I'm very interested to kind of like see how you felt about him and Wade.
So before I knew we were going to do this podcast.
Yeah.
And one of your recommendations is, why don't you watch an episode of the podcast?
Well, there you go.
I watched last episode, right? So that is how I know Rembrandt. Mm-hmm. Because in this episode, I'm not entirely certain, other than getting hit by lightning, if he was in the episode. mean, I may be wrong about that, but watching, I'm like, there's 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
Is the 4th one Corey Feldman? So I felt bad for the guy because I'd already watched your podcast. I'm like, okay, Rembrandt, let's see what's going to happen here. Not much. So, go ahead.
Yeah. No. So what? So how about Wade?
So Wade had a sizable part in this episode, but not in the beginning. And it was she was put next to Julie Benz for most of her part, and I hate to be judgmental on record as opposed to in private about acting abilities, but I felt that one person had a larger career and it might have shown in line delivery than the other.
So, Rain, we're not inviting Sabrina Lloyd onto this show.
Why not? She better go. She better come on here. I don't care.
Like we gonna try to invite who I don't know about any of the 4, right? We just gonna invite the actress that played Jillian.
Honestly,
that's the only.
That's my girl. I'm sorry. Yes, she was so good.
Yeah, they it's funny because like the acting, I always felt like the core 4 did well, but there were definitely like episodes where they didn't bring it as much as like some of the people that were like surrounding them. So yeah, I can get that. I'm just glad that you didn't see an episode with Rembrandt where he was talking about music like every 5 and then randomly the Navy he
did mention the sea. Forgot that was his other moment.
Yeah, that was the I think for this season that's the second mention of him being in the Navy, which was just random. But John, knowing the team dynamics, was this a solid episode for
what's funny? 4? Yeah, what's funny is I actually, it was one of those that went by fast, I thought, weirdly. Like I was watching and then all of a sudden we were kind of done and I'm like, oh, like, because, but yeah, like obviously Rembrandt didn't get much to do. And honestly, the professor really didn't get a ton until towards the very end.
Yes.
It was really the Quinn and Wade show for the most part. It does feel like a lot of times that we've got to split Wade off from the rest of the group. In some way, whether she's the damsel in distress or she's something else, it just feels like that's the way they go, probably more than they need to, especially considering like overall she's a fairly strong character. I feel like even if, so it was interesting. I actually have to be honest, like I don't remember seeing this in the original run, so like it was kind of a new episode to me for that. And so, yeah, when you're saying like, with Franklin being like the suit, not suit, country guy, I think you nailed it. It's like his whole dynamic of I was a scientist and now I'm like, we're just living the good life out here and you better stay in line. I'm like, this is a weird transition, man. Like,
right.
These kids, I mean, even if we figured those kids were like 1 and 2 or something, like when you had them, like we're only talking 20 some odd years at this point. Cause we got to get that birthing hip action going on with, the women folk and all that. So, I think overall, like you said, it was kind of a fun episode that I actually thought like at first I'm like, oh, this is going to be one of those just like kind of like a slight twist to a world. And then like, we might screw something up, we might not. And then we're just going to move on. But I was like, oh no, this actually had some like decent moments. And one of the things I did like about Wade was the moment with her and Julie talking about like fathers and everything, and then she reflected on she hadn't seen her father or whatever, and I was like, oh, or that was the last time she wanted to see her father, and then she got abducted on the sliding fun. And it made me wonder, and maybe y'all have a good idea of this, like I wondered like how long have they been going at this point, because like you feel like at the very least it's got to be like a year or
2.
so, too, like
2
basically
years.
A year per season, probably.
Yeah,
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there might have been an episode where they mention it too. But like I said, I think 2 years. So they've had more than enough time, away from their loved ones and just stuck with each other. One thing I was going to ask Rain specifically, why did they take Quinn's shirt off to punch him? Like
when I tell you this, I said this homoerotic. What is going on? I'm like, what is going? There was no need. Like, I hate this, and I hate this because we also, even though, what's the girl's name? What's the blonde's name in the show? Jesus.
She was Jenny.
Okay, Jenny. Even though Jenny was engaged to another man, it was very clear that they were setting up Quinn and her like they do every pretty woman in every freaking episode, but they just didn't like go that extra mile. So I guess like pulling off his shirt was like, look what we got here. And it's like, yeah we know. We see this every episode. Plus, there are 2 other men in the show from this world. Take their shirts off. Why we gotta see Quinn again? I was just like, ugh. Sick of him.
I have a note. My note is Jerry O'Connell, the most ripped nerd of all time.
Exactly.
No, for real. Sick of him.
Like, because when I realized that there's that scene where the other sliders are in the house and they're questioning Quinn, and you can hear him, like, you can hear them punching or hitting him or whatever. I was like, oh shit, they're torturing him, right? And then when they go outside, and I was like, what is this? This dude is oiled the fuck up, and they're just like getting body shots, right? And he's just like, I slide. And it was just like, you could still, his shirt was not padded enough that he would not have felt the punches. And it kind of took something away from the fact that they're showing what they do to outsiders, right? This is a very fucked up world. And I was just like, it's the thing of them trying to make him the heartthrob or the single hero. And our joke is always that the focus is always on the professor and Quinn. So I think, Egg, you mentioned the fact that a lot of it is also now this is Wade. Wade gets her shine time, and actually a couple really good moments where she's like clapping back, right? What did the guy say to her? Like she said something to the guy, and he's like, "You better not let Franklin hear." And then she's like, "Get the fuck away from me."
Yeah.
It's like, and then when she walks away, and like Jenny is like, "Oh, the women here don't talk like that," and she's like, I got hands. We beat ass across the multiverse.
I was like, why would you tell her this? You have not equipped her with anything.
Exactly.
Like, if she talks back, they might hit this woman. Like, what are you doing? She was like, yeah, so talk back. I was like, I don't know.
It's like, I'm gonna teach you a new phrase. If you froggy, no. And it was just and then even like, I know there was a scene where she escaped from the jail, and then the guy they had a lot of pitchforks. Like our joke was in the first episode, they spent all that budget on American flags on the Soviet Union war. And I was if y'all had spent as much money on the actual war effort, you might actually win. But they had a bunch of flags for like bodies and shit. So this world, they had pitchforks. And he was holding her at pitchfork point or whatever. But yeah, I like Wade in this one. I do hate that once again Remy gets sidelined, just to react to stuff and then to get shot in the chest. And I think the worst thing is like he gets shot in the chest by lightning. Like when I watched it the first time, I think I turned my head so he was walking and then he fell on the ground. So I thought like a piece of rock or something had hit him, right? And also because he has kind of like dust on his face. So when I had it running today, just in the background so I could get ready for this, when I saw him get hit in the chest with that lightning, I was like, oh shit. And they're just standing over him with their hands bound behind him. And like, are you okay, Remy? I'm like, no, the motherfucker is dead.
Right.
He's dead. And it just seemed like to sideline him and to give him the worst treatment. It was just like, So I don't know. Like I think Remy he's a constant source of discussion amongst us, and we never think it's anything against the actor, but it's like the writers just sometimes didn't know what to do with him.
Well, I feel like a lot of times on the show, it felt like he got sidelined as the fourth member, or we like once in a blue moon we get a Remy focused episode, right? Yeah. Like, and he's the star beyond all stars. And then they would give him like one, maybe two of those a season, and then like the rest of the time you get 10 lines of dialogue and be happy, like.
And it's funny because at the end of the day, he's the only original cast member.
Right.
He's the through line, correct?
Yes.
What'd you say?
Yeah,
he's the through line, correct? Like he's the only one, right?
Yeah, he was the only one. So if you want some really good reading, Egg, go and look at go and check out the back what was happening on the behind the scenes, and kind of how he stayed while everybody else left. I haven't told Rain like what happened behind the scenes because we're trying not to get ahead of it. But I think you do know, like Rain, you do know that he's the only one that stays around, right? Okay.
Yeah, I know eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some crazy. What'd you say?
I didn't mean to spoil.
No. Like what I want to do is after this season, especially, is to like Rain. Now you can go and read about what happened behind the scenes, and all the craziness. But the we talked about everybody else. But what about Corey, Lost Boys, Feldman? Also, before I forget, did y'all notice the handshake?
Stand By Me handshake?
Huh? What was that?
Stand By Me handshake?
Yeah, they did the Stand By Me handshake. Yeah, so they did the it's like the hand slide. I'll send you but there's a moment between him and Jerry O'Connell at the end where they do a weird ass handshake.
Yeah.
It's just like, why would you do this personal handshake?
I was like, what is happening right in this moment? Like, I did not get that. And then I'm like, y'all have had very little interaction, like relatively speaking. I don't know that this is the appropriate handshake for this.
Wait. I disagree. Okay. We saw Jerry without his shirt on.
Okay.
Now, Corey didn't do that, but he is in a world where they have nothing but hair care products and the exact guard that you need for a perfect shave beard. Okay. Hair goes straight up, and each one appreciates the other's dedication to appearance, and thus the handshake.
Okay,
that's fair.
So what you're suggesting was that let me put some respect on his character's name, Reed.
Yeah.
Because we can call him Corey Feldman. That's just his character's name in the episode. But Reed was hiding in the bushes in that same trap door that they could never apparently like that became like a Looney Tunes skit for me. Like, so,
can I just say, like, okay, you know that there's tunnels.
Yes.
And yet the locals apparently have no knowledge of where any tunnel is at any given time. They don't clear the area. I mean, I'm like, y'all had nothing but downtime at a certain point. Like, why not do a little search and have fun with it? Like, hey, we found door number 72 today.
It would help if it wasn't perfectly manicured all around the door, too. Like, someone's over here doing the yard work, man.
Well, when the boy popped up out of the grass,
it was like a Red Dawn moment, like Wolverine or something.
He looked like a lost boy from Hook. But the example that you gave for their appreciation enough for the handshake, Reed was watching him shirtless and was like, you know what? This is a dude I want to know. I want to get to know more. He's like, so let's do the handshake. But yeah, when they met at the end, when they did the handshake, I remembered, I was like, there's some significance to that because they were at least they didn't just say, you know what? Hey, I stood by you, right?
They couldn't afford the song, so this was what we got.
Yeah.
But yeah, like how did y'all feel about Reed? Let me ask Rain first. Like how did
First of all, Reed was in another show. We was not on the same show at all. I was like, him and his illegitimate son, because who is this boy? No other outcast. I'm expecting at least 10 other people.
Yeah.
No other extras. You could use the same people from the farm. I don't remember them.
They just went.
It's just like his hair, and no lie. When he came around that corner, or however he was revealed, and I saw his hair, I was like, this feels so wrong. Like, why are you're not dirty? For all of this hopping through tunnels and in dirt and sand and all of that. I was like, he looks like a I know it's not right, but like a CoverGirl ad. So like, I don't know where do you come from? No, he was okay. He just felt inappropriate for the situation. It was like, man, yeah, sometimes we just be in the ground. I'm like, you're not your father. You're not reacting. Your actions do not match your situation. That's what I feel. I'm like, even if you're used to this, do you remember the episode with I think with the virus when they had all those people in that those people had their reaction to their environment is what he was just cool. Like, me and my son, we have this mansion in the ground. We drink KO. I have a sister. I could see her whenever I want, but like, not really. I don't like her. He was enjoyable. He was fun, but I'm like, you are on a whole nother, like, really serious Stargate SG-1 type show. You're not on this same show. Like, did you kill everybody else though? So
well, that's really why Franklin didn't want the outcasts, because they were just cannibalizing each other or something,
There we go. Head canon. That's my head canon, because that's why his hair looks so good too. All the nutrients from the people. No.
It's funny because I'm like, so did Jerry O'Connell call somebody? And I'm not saying Corey Feldman ain't a good actor. Like, he's okay. Sorry, he's okay. He's all right. But I'm like,
there's not a better Frog Brother.
He said what?
There is not a better Frog Brother.
There you go. But I don't know. Like, I feel that Jerry O'Connell called somebody to say, "Yo, I got Corey." I got my friend, and maybe they were like, hey, and maybe the Stand By Me fandom will be like, yo, let's this is a moment for us, right? So I don't know. I just feel like if something like that had happened now, there would be like a pocket of fandom who would be like losing their shit online, like, oh God, but we didn't have that back in the day. We didn't have the ability to go on message. Well, we had message boards, but not as insane as we are now. So I'm trying to think of like what show would, where two people could appear on like a random ass sci-fi show and then they do like a special handshake. That's I wish that we had that for now. But Corey was fun. Like I said, he was overly serious. Perfectly coiffed hair, and then like his emotional stand down with his dad was so effective that his dad was like, you know what, we've been torturing and killing people, let's what? And I've switched my whole like ideology, like I love science and now I hate it. Now I love it again, right? Let's go.
I think maybe Franklin just off screen got shot by lightning or something. It snapped him back. It's like a Fred Flintstone getting bopped on the head or something. Because we get to that moment and I'm like, well, that was an easy way to convince somebody. Like he flipped the switch. He's like, I guess my whole life for the last 25 years has been a lie. Let's do this other thing now.
I wanted him because I think it cuts the legs out from under his like villainy or whatever. And also I would have liked it if Jacob had been the one to like Jacob and his daughter had been like, we have to build a bridge with the outcasts. And now I'm not saying I wanted Franklin to die, but I mean, if it happened, it happened. Like Logan, I did. Like he did. But if they had put him in jail or if he had died or whatever, it would have been like this thing where he stayed, true to his insanity, right? Mm-hmm. It just seemed like so easily wrapped up, but maybe it was as seeing himself at the end of the pitchfork, his son. That made him. So I don't know. Like, but yeah, Corey was Corey was just another random ass person that they put in the show. Like we had, like I said, we had Isaac Hayes, Malcolm Jamal Warner, rest in peace. He comes in. He's in a later season. So we have Corey Feldman, and then of all people, and now he wasn't as famous at the time. The dude that played Negan.
Oh yeah,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dean Morgan is that the second season where they go to the prison world?
Yeah, this had to be his audition tape, and he didn't know it because it's the same character. It's the same person.
Yeah, and then
a great Franklin.
And I'm skipping ahead. Dawn Lewis, is it Dawn Lewis from it's a Different World. The one that was dating Colonel Taylor. I can never remember her name, but she also does a voice for Captain in that new Star Trek animated show. I think it's Dawn Lewis. But anyway, so we would get like random like big names popping up, and then Mel Torme. Mel Torme was in an episode.
You got to have Mel Torme.
Well, the best thing about that was we thought Mel Torme got blown up in a car. We thought the mafia had killed him, and then Quinn says, "Oh God, they killed Mel Torme." So I just add Corey Feldman. We might have to do a list of like random guest stars and see who ranks as number one. But outside of that, like those are the big stars of it. Shout out to the extras who weren't reacting to shit in the background, like when they were drowning her. It looked like most of the people were like looking over each other's shoulder instead of being horrified. What was going on?
The drowning.
Yeah.
Okay. Franklin's a scientist. They're in the last valley in the world. Okay. This is their water supply. Put the girl in it and drown her in it. Leave the body there like it's a tea bag or something, right? We're going to flavor the water with a little gas. Like I was like, this kind of science we got. Good.
I just love the fact they brought her up. He's like, put her down, then he has them bring her up. I'm like, well, that's going to do the opposite. It's like, well, she's been in there 30 seconds. Let's see how long she can really hold her breath.
He was so mad. Like,
he's like, just let go or whatever he said. And it's just like, well, leave her down there longer. I mean,
maybe that's why the people are confused because like, so now, Ed, with you making that really valid point, there's nothing but bodies lining the bottom of that pond or that lake. Because I don't get the sense that they clean up after themselves. I don't know. Like, but yeah, that's
the one guy in the stocks, so they're just going to leave certain. Maybe she'd be in the chair dangling over the pond or something. That's what we do to witches, or
right. That's what it felt like.
It was like, and it was every trope of like a backwards, like, and of course they didn't talk about like Christianity or nothing, but it has kind of that vibe, like I said, the Children of the Corn vibe. Not militia, but like cult type of thing. Amish, I don't want to talk down about the Amish because this is like,
well, they'll never hear it. So
the one time they watch a podcast, it's
this episode
on their Rumspringa, they're checking out the slider show.
I hear horses clopping up and down.
Oh no!
It's like it's the Amish mafia, but and once again, it makes me like think of like, how did he get here? I mean, I guess it's the suggestion of like, well, I fucked up the world, so now let me go study the Salem witch trials, throw a little bit of Amish culture in there, and just freak everybody out. I think, but yeah, that scene and so like I said, the extras were interesting. The thing that I did respect was that they were like, you know what? Black, white, Asian, Hispanic. They were like, as long as you crazy, come on in.
Yeah. It was a very inclusive group of crazies too, which I did appreciate. I was like, You're just showing the whole world that all of us can be crazy together.
MAGA would have hated this episode. There's like, no, it's too many. It's too many.
Crazy. This is.
But yeah, no, they and then it felt like a cartoon because they swim to the side, and then Corey Feldman drives up in the Jeep, and then Franklin's like, "Oh, let's go get him!" And it's just like.
My favorite part was the driving up in the Jeep, right? They're in this field.
Yeah.
It's flat everywhere. There's mountains in the background, so there's going to be good acoustics. Those Jeeps are not quiet. It's like he's sneaking up in the Jeep, and you're like, wow, okay. I didn't hear that. Like, oh, he's on frame now, so like I see it.
I mean, maybe they didn't know what technology was. Maybe they didn't know what cars were. I'm just saying, Rain.
Okay.
For people listening to this episode, Rain just gave me the "what you talking about, Willis."
Man, why is there no tornado following the Jeep? Like, what are we doing? And then Quinn jumping in the lake. He's like, "Oh, I'll jump." I can hear that. This lake ain't that big. It is not that big. What house is 3 max could fit in this lake?
That was the funniest thing is when the chair comes up and there's no one there, and they're all like stunned and like it's like they're searching around. I'm like, how big is this lake? Is this like Lake Michigan? Like, what are you doing? It's a pond in your backyard that like will run out of water when it's hot. I mean, like,
so
yeah.
And so then the other thing where they were like, well, we got to go get the timer. And they're like, oh, they're right behind us.
Rain's about to have a connection.
No, say what you're gonna say, Rain. No, say what you're gonna say.
Every episode, I know we're looking at this through a 2025 lens, and I do give grace for a lot of things. But one thing I will not give grace for is every single episode they lose track of the timer. Somebody takes it. When he took that from Quinn, I said, this man is 75. Hit him in his collarbone. Like, what do you? How do you let them get control of this? That bothers me to know more than anything else. I hate that. Mm-hmm. This is how you get home. What are you doing?
Well, remember, so like, John, Ed, one of the things that I think we can lay claim to this, that no other Sliders fan or podcast has noticed how much the Fab Four whoop ass. In every other episode, they are whooping somebody's ass. The joke that we have is like, have y'all seen Superman? Mm-hmm. Both of y'all? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you know 1A. They do 1A every other episode. So the fact that didn't just turn into them like punching up the stairs and whooping ass, we kind of. One of the saving graces for Quinn, it wasn't much, was when he was whooping both of their asses at the end, where he was, but it was like him coming in as the knight, the shining knight to help. And knowing you, I'm sorry, yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you because that was the fight where he fought discount Rob Stark from Game of Thrones. Look at the guy, I'm like, don't hit Rob Stark. He's got a red wedding to get to.
Yeah, they will throw hands in this show, and it's like the best thing to watch. Like they fought in courts.
Yes,
they fought twice. Abusive husbands. That was twice, right? Yeah. Who else? Wade kicked somebody in the dick. I mean, it was like it's been some crazy shit. Like that's the one thing that they will consistently do. Yeah, it's like a Star Trek episode where they're like, like the fake chops and whatever. But so I was glad to see them still. It would have been great if they were like punching at the tornado or the twister. And let's one thing I did want to ask, how did y'all feel about the special effects?
Top notch.
John is correct. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Love the Bomb.
Yeah.
Where Slim Pickens is riding the nuclear bomb down. The kid gets on the board, goes up into the air, and I'm like, this is a revelation. This is what we've been missing. In 1995, 6, 7, whenever this show came out, we peaked. This was the top of We've been to the top of the mountain when it comes to special effects. We go no further.
Well, what was funny is the sliders started to get accused, especially in the second and third seasons, of pulling from like the blockbuster movie, right, of the year, or the hot, things that were big. So considering like the scripts had to be written like months in advance or whatever, sometimes it felt like days. I'm sorry. Like, I think they came out of Twister, they were like, yo, let's get it. Just like, this was it. But this, I think, was there was this, literally, this was their Twister episode. And I remember in Twister, the special effects being better than what they showed. Like,
I literally, my first thought about this episode though was, oh, this is kind of a bottle episode. Like it's, I mean, aside from like the Twister special effects, which I mean, I'm sure they spent 25 cents on, that like they're in a desert area. Yeah. So like that's cheap as all get out. They have a beat up old Jeep. They had the house, which whether or not they could just go out, some part of California and just film on set, or, maybe they had it in the back lot. I don't know. But I was just like, there's not a lot going on here as far as like what you have to spend money on, which made me think, oh, this is just one of those where like we busted our budget on some other episode, or we're going to bust our budget. Yeah. So we're going to try to keep this as simple as possible, I think.
And one of the other thing we talked about this season is this is when they moved the production from Vancouver to Los Angeles, right? So I thank God that this was in a place that wasn't the Universal backlot, where I could see, oh, like shit, that's where they filmed Back to the Future, or the New York street scene, because it was supposed to be their stand-in for like San Francisco. So I could appreciate that. Maybe this was literally in the like behind this Universal lot, but it was good to see them like film on location, for some of this stuff. One thing I was going to mention was just like, shout out to, once again, Jillian the Spirits. Yep. This is a second world where electronics are feared and shunned. Albeit it's because of this one guy, but it's not. But this is another one where, because in that episode, there was a world that after they saw the effects of the bombing of Hiroshima, the world basically took a step back from like any advancements in technology. And that one was handled way better than in this one. So because we're winding down, was there anything, before we get into our like least favorite moments, was there anything like specific from the episode that y'all wanted to mention or highlight or talk about?
This is on me. Earlier it was mentioned drinking the kale. Remy's third scene in this episode, he did not like the kale drink. Very important in character building, whereas everyone else drank the kale drink. Now, everyone here's had a kale drink, and Remy's reaction was the correct one. It was the only option.
Well, I mean, like, Reed is looking at him smarmy, like he's like, drink up. And it's just
like, this is poison.
Like he's been in on it with Franklin the whole time.
Really? That's weird.
I mean, they once again using Crying Man Brown as the comic relief. So
I had one other big thing I thought. Well, two things, but one was when they take them out, they take the trio out to the wastelands or whatever to drop them off to die effectively. As they're starting to pull away, the gang is like, "You're just going to leave us here? You can't do that." I was like, they're taking you out to die, guys. Like, the only thing they didn't do is stab you with the pitchfork. I don't know what you're complaining about. Like, it just seemed like they were so shocked. They're like, "Oh, this is life or death." Oh, I did not realize that. I thought we were just going for a joyride.
We're explorers and the bad guys. This wasn't supposed to happen to us.
True.
Well, the best thing about that was like the professor just stayed put. Yeah. That was Brittany and Quentin kicking at. He was like, "I'm not running. This is not my running episode."
Like, serve energy, no water, no food. I got you.
Okay, so we let's get into our favorites and least favorites. So Starting with you, John, what was your favorite moment and your least favorite moment from season 3, episode 3, the Electric Twister acid test?
I love that Jenny, when she's like basically trying to get her fiance to let him out of the cage, and it's like the most obvious thing ever, that it's just, and he's just like, okay, I'll open up the thing. And I was like, you know what, as cheesy as this moment is, it's the most real moment I think of anything, where the guy's just like, well, I love her, so I guess I'll do it. And I actually wondered, like, I was like, because she goes, I'm so, like, she says she's sorry to him. So it's like, okay, like, because at various times in there, I'm like, I don't know, is this just because it's an arranged marriage? So, like, who knows? But I was like, oh, I actually think, like, she cared a little bit, you know? So I did like that moment a lot, just because it was kind of so over the top, and you're just like, don't do it. You know what's about to happen. I think my least favorite, we kind of touched on, is Franklin's turn back to face. You know, where he's been the heel for so long, and it's just so instantaneous. Like, there was a big part of me that was like, maybe he's like, yeah, I'll do it. And then as soon as Quinn leaves, like, they get up there and then things start going bad again. Like, I wasn't, you know, because again, I'm not marking the time, you know, as I'm watching, so I don't know exactly how close we are to the end. And then a honorable mention is when he says they have 5 minutes left on the timer. I did check the time, and there was only like 5 minutes left in the episode. I was like, oh, we're going 24 with this. That's amazing. So kudos to the Sliders team for getting that on time, you know?
So, Egg, what about you? What's your favorite and least favorite moment from the episode?
So before we get to mine, I'm going to piggyback on John's. When Julie Benz, the actress, calls her fiance over there, he opens up. She ends up kicking him where you don't want to get kicked as a dude, right? Yeah. And my whole thought is because I think about Hollywood actresses being, you know, these very, 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 very bony people, and I'm like, well, he's never having kids. But following up on that, like the next scene, they're just walking together like everything's okay, and he does not once go, "It's okay, dear." that would have been amazing had he done that. Favorite scene is the entire opening where I'm like, we almost had $10,000, you know, and then like, oh, we're gonna go steal everything. Don't worry about that dead body. We're explorers. And I'm like, this show is amazing. Why didn't I believe Robert Jeffrey before? That was sensational. My least favorite scene was the scene that follows that, where that wasn't followed up on, and they didn't end up destroying the world.
Yeah.
Big sad.
Sad face. So for me, my favorite moment was oh man. So I'm gonna say it was a goofy opening. I think that like piggybacking on what you said, Egg, that is Sliders, right? That's the campy, goofy, fun. And because once again, we've been Rainy and I have been on this ride for 2 seasons and 3 episodes. There have been plenty of episodes where they just hate each other, right? The professor, I don't want to say calling Wade out of her name, but saying you're stupid. Quinn clapping back on Rembrandt when Rembrandt's like, "Why the fuck you bring me on?" So it seemed like a genuine moment, which was nice. Honorable mention for me is Caleb just lying in the grass and just popping up for like a random moment. But as far as the least favorite, this is just going to be like one where I'm piggybacking. It was like you said, Frank turning face, like that. Franklin turning face, like I really enjoyed him as far as him being the antagonist for this episode. And I felt that if we had, this might be one of the ones this season where if I had an alternate storyline, Rain, you know how we sometimes, it'll be with him. Yeah. So that was my least favorite. So how about you, Rain? Favorite, least favorite moment?
I don't know. There's so many. Jesus Christ. My favorite probably it would probably be the escape because it was so cartoonish, like Quinn jumping in the water. This is very minor, but I love that Wade, not to say the show would have done that, but I wouldn't put it past them. Didn't have like nipple prints on her breast when she came in front of like it was just a regular, like, no, let's focus on this murder we're trying to commit. So like that's also part of it. But like Quinn jumping in the water, her not being in the chair when they pulled it up, the Jeep already being on that side of the lake, but then also kind of like doubling back so that they could dramatically jump it. Like that was such a weird, like Mystery Machine escape. Like, yeah, what's going on? Like, well, why is there whatever? This is silly, but I like because it was so. It's so indicative of them.
Yeah,
jumping through the slide together when they do have their good moments. Like it was just so intense and silly for no reason. So that has to be my favorite, was that escape. Least favorite, there's so many of them. I'll probably go with Quinn being shirtless and being beaten. Because that honestly, if you remove that part of the episode, nothing changes. Quite literally nothing changed. Like to your point earlier, the shirt was thin. They could have had the shirt ripped. I would have taken like a rip right down the middle where you see the abs and some of the chest, but I guess he would have had to have a new shirt later. So that to me was like, what the hell are we doing? Why? We know you look good. Like, I don't care. My honorable mention is we're explorers. What? No, we're not. We are refugees trying to get back home. We have never been explorers. We've been people who have destroyed whole worlds, but we have never been explorers. And so I was like, Quinn, what are you talking about? That they have no street smarts. And this is not. This is if you put a 5-year-old's hand on the stove and it's hot, they'll check it again before they put their hand, because consequences. These people, they just keep jumping on the hot stove. I'm like, what are you talking about? So that shirtless Quinn and I'm an explorer Quinn is just like, did he get switched in the previous season? Who is this? This ain't even like Quinn. Like, I was like, bro, okay.
Nah, I mean, this Quinn from episode 1, they haven't had the switch. Like
I'm sick of him. And another one, I'm just saying, why is there a full factory in the underground? In like, Reed, are you smart enough to? Why do you have this? Are you smart enough to like work it and change the tornadoes? If so, why haven't you done that? Also, you're sending this child out every day for God knows what. There's no food he's collecting. I'll stop.
The other thing that stood out to me about the Explorer line is like he says that to the only black man in the group, and he already saw the guy in the stock. So like our history with roving bands of Caucasians is not the best, and it's just like
here.
What'd you say?
He said, maybe it's a different world here. Maybe they have a different history. All right.
Yeah, that sounded like something Quinn would say.
Don't find out in my experience. Can we go?
Yeah, Remy should have gone the other way. Because he was like, this is what they do to them in the stocks, not us anyways. But, So, okay, and also favorite character, least favorite character. Let's start with we can reverse. Let's start with Ray.
My favorite character is Wade's new hair. I love the color. Chef's kiss. No, my favorite, honestly, is Wade. I feel like it's between Wade and Jenny. I've been toying with this all day. Wade, I think, gave her some stuff to think about, but I think even without her, I'm gonna go with Jenny, because I think on her own, when she saw the professor, with the conversation that was going on inside the house, I would have thought she would have been like, oh, there's a guy out here, and then it would have been this whole thing. Yeah. But she, to me, felt like she was like her brother. She was someone who subscribed to the law of the land, because that's where you live, but also has desires that do not begin and end with damnation. It was just like, okay, let me figure out what's going on. Because she could have easily... That was a big man. That was a big, strange man. And, if it was Wade, okay, one thing. But I like that from the beginning, she felt like she was her own person. underneath this like oppressive state that she lived in.
Yeah.
And I think she was consistent throughout, from like finding that little boy laying in the grass who's her nephew, maybe. Where's her mom? Where's his mom? Like, there's no this is a Disney movie, no mothers in this show. But I think Jenny, to me, she was she's my favorite. I gotta go with her. She impressed me. My least favorite is easily Quinn. Everything about him bothered me. Even them going so far as to make him the heartthrob for Jenny when she had a husband right there, a fiance right there.
Yeah.
Like, there's no if you watch this without sound, I feel like you would think that they were together. And her hugging her fiance in the jail was just to get out of jail. Like, I don't like the way they always position him as the love interest for everybody. It's like, well, where's the episode where the professor is the love interest, or Remy, or even Wade? Like, give me. So I don't. And Quinn just sucks. He. God, I can't stand him. So Quinn by default. Even more than Franklin, and that's saying something. Franklin murdered. Well, y'all both are murderers, but yeah, that's it.
Okay. So for me, favorite, it's gonna be Franklin. I enjoy a good antagonist, and he was good up until the 5 minutes or whatever, in the few minutes that we had towards the end. Least favorite character, the twister that lifted up that child in the first scene. So that's I'm sorry, like that's my least favorite for the entire episode. So Egg, how about you? Favorite character, least favorite character?
I'm gonna have to go with the kid is actually my favorite character because it's like the mid-90s. Okay. And he had lines to deliver, and his acting was no less competent than his peers in that show. So I was like, well, kudos to him. Like, I do think that the parts with Wade, especially, and this is more of a physical acting thing, but being lowered in the chair, and they did it kind of in the slow-mo, and she was thinking about how that was going to look as, she was going into the water, and the expression she was going to do and all that. So I feel the actress did a really good job with that in terms of thinking about what this was going to be, because I'm assuming this is not a lot of take show. Like, we're dunking you, and then we're raising you back up, and we're dunking you, and we're out. So I do feel like there was some good work that was done there from the actors and translated into enjoyable characters. Good. In terms of least favorite, the guy in the stocks. Who's just forgettable.
Okay. So for you, John, who are your favorite and least favorite characters?
Well, I think my favorite is Jenny for pretty much everything Rain said. I think that like she probably is the most put together character, like the most well-rounded as far as like thought was given to her, and they really, whether that was because the original maybe first draft was her being the love interest for Quinn, and then they backed off that a little bit, undressed topless Quinn aside, but so yeah, I really liked her, and I think Julie Benz did everything she could with that role, so and I like her. So as far as like least favorite, I think it's the timer itself, the sliding device. because and I guess maybe this piggybacks a tiny bit on Quinn's idiocy in this episode at the beginning, where he goes, we'll hide it in the cellar or in the barn, or it was the cellar. Yes. They were in the and then he literally just keeps it in his hand, and I'm like, dude, you could put it anywhere and no one would find it in that place. And then it gets taken apart, and it's just like, yeah, no big deal. Like, he didn't damage anything. I'm like, I mean, this is unknown technology for this guy. Like, he didn't damage anything. So I don't like it when I know it's the magical MacGuffin, but like when it's a little too magical, it's like, all right, guys, like, just put it in your back pocket. Don't tell anybody it's there. It'll be fine.
That's fair.
So.
Gotcha. Okay. So we always give general episode ratings like out of 10. So in this case, you can choose one of two. Out of 10 perfectly coiffed, superbly bearded Corey Feldmans, or 10 electric twisters, what would you rate this episode? So let's start with John.
Probably like a 6. Perfectly coiffed Corey Feldman's. I think.
Okay.
I think it was everything I didn't know I needed it to be. You know, I didn't know that the underground post-apocalyptic could be that shiny, and you know, so.
Okay. And Eric, how about you?
For the people watching at home, for those listening, I have known Robert for 15 years, just off and on.
Just about, yeah.
And the only thing I know about you is that this is the show, man. This is the one. This is the first time I've seen this show, but like sliders, man. Sliders. Okay? If you're on a street corner and crazy and screaming stuff, I know what it would be, Robert. No. So we're in the same state for those listening at home. And if I answer this incorrectly, Robert will find me.
Oh, no.
There will be no more egg. Robert, this was, in all honesty, this was a 10 out of 10. Perfect.
Wow. Okay.
Coiffed Corey Feldman's, because I'm scared to say even a 9.5. 10, Robert, 10. They're all 10s.
Well, they say 10s across the board, right?
Yeah.
All of them. Best show I've ever seen, Robert. That's right. Amazing.
Next one will be even better.
I'm saying it right here. We having y'all back. we having y'all back. Okay, so 6-10. I am going to give this I'm going to give it a 7.5 electric twisters. So, and it's actually on par with last week's episode, Double Cross. So, Rain, how about you?
Though I really enjoyed it, it was a fun ride. I'm somewhere between a 6.5 and 6. And that's for the critiques that I have with it. Because I don't think it was bad. We've had some episodes where it's like, oh, we've rated them low. But we had some where they maybe weren't the highest, but they were fun. This one was fun.
Yeah.
This one, to me, I can excuse, I can excuse a lot, but I would say a 6.5 just to be, because also what you mentioning us moving to California versus Vancouver. And I feel like a lot of the episodes this season, well, it's only been 3, it's been varied settings. So I'm trying to temper my expectations for the future episodes that may also not be so great. But I do think this one I'm going to go with 6.5. And it'll probably go a little higher once I get to the next not so great episode. But right now, 6.5. 6.5 electric Corey Tornado Quad.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's our breakdown of season 3, episode 3, Electric Twister Acid Test. But the other thing we were going to talk about is these dudes got a comic book coming out. It's a series is called In Our Dreams Awake. And the Kickstarter, there you go. For the people watching, listening, they're holding up the covers and T-shirts with the covers on them, which I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get when you pledge for the Kickstarter this on October 8th, starting October 8th. And one thing I was going to ask is, either one of y'all, what's the general premise of this parallel reality show, which is I don't want to say not related to Sliders, but kind of whatever, it's in the same space. But what is In Our Dreams Awake about?
John, you got that or me?
You can do it. Go ahead.
Okay, so Jason Byron is a painter in a fantasy world where technology is banned after the mages took over. And when he falls asleep, Jason Byron is leader of a gang, in a cyberpunk reality where chum is the drug of choice and he rules the canals fighting aliens. And when he falls asleep, he wakes up as Jason Byron, painter. And so the cycle goes. What is reality and what is the dream? What is the life he wants to live? In each one, he has a love, but they're not the same. In each one, he has a life, but they're not the same. What is going to be the end? He does not know when he is asleep, and he does not know when he is awake.
Nice.
In our dreams awake.
There you go.
Hey,
that's the pitch. That was good. I'm a fan of both of y'all. Like I said, John and I go back, Egg and I go back with the writing, but like I've read the first 2 issues. I've had a chance to read the first 2 issues, and I'm a big fan of the concept, especially as a Sliders fan, especially as the idea of like parallel worlds and kind of the multiverse. But I think what y'all do very expertly, and especially with the art team, is there's this balance where you care. There are stakes, right? So this is not like you bobsled into a universe, and it seems as if the existence of each person is like having an effect on the other, and and I love that about it, and I love the extreme settings, differences with the settings. So I'm glad that y'all are continuing the series, and I think it's going for 4 issues, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we'll do 4 total. So,
okay.
And the 4th one is basically 90% done. So,
okay,
good deal.
We and with issue 3 is all done, literally letters, colors, everything. So once we launch and once the campaign wraps up, assuming we fund, and we're not really asking for a ton, it's mostly just to cover the print costs. Like basically as soon as it's over, I can send digital copies out that next day roughly, and people can read it. But
that's what's up.
There's too much stress on the other way, having done it the other way a couple of times where it's like those dates you put out, you're like, oh, that's like 4 months away, that's 5 months away, and then those months eat away quick, and and as a writer, like I only have so much control over how long it takes somebody to, and I understand art takes time, doing letters, colors, inks all take time. So like if I can have all that done beforehand, it's going to lower our stress levels anyway. And I think hopefully it builds some confidence with those people that back.
Good deal.
Indeed.
I would like to say, as a glowing endorsement of this project, when I was a child living in the house with no siblings, I have an overactive imagination, and this book, the concept itself. So even with Sliders, when we go into every episode, I do not read the description. I just watch the episode, and then when we're on air, I'll read it for the first time, and because I'm like, okay, let me just jump in and see what's going on. Then we discuss it. Oh, does it make sense or whatnot? That's kind of the way I felt with this book. With reading this story, it took me right back to my childhood, where this was literally a dream of mine. I would say, okay, well, I'll go to sleep, and I'm 30 years old, and I have my own car, and this and that. And in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, of course, when you go to sleep, you have a whole nother life that you lead. I was a child with an overactive imagination, and to read your project, and it reminded me of me being a kid, having that same ideal. It felt so. I know I'm probably projecting onto it. It's a good book, y'all. It's a good project, but I know I'm probably putting a lot of my nostalgic thoughts onto it. But it's like seeing something that you loved as a kid being taken so much more seriously as an adult.
Yeah.
Even if it's something like, oh, I read X-Men as a kid, and and then you get to 2001, and then you get to finally see them live action on the screen. So that alone, anyone who has an active imagination, anyone who was the artistic child, any of that, I think this is definitely the book for it, regardless to if that's paint, sculpting, writing, scrapbooking, whatever. I think this speaks to so many different parts of us, the royal us, I guess. So I'll stop there because I can rave. Like I'm very invested. This book has changed my terminology. I will no longer say the F word. I'll be saying Keith. So y'all got it.
Awesome.
Uh,
So
yeah, we appreciate that. That's awesome.
that's Keith and awesome.
Yeah, it is.
So thank you very much. Really appreciate that.
Man, thank you.
Yeah.
We were, I'm going to give a stupid backstory. It's a big tangent.
Mhm.
We went and one of our buddies, we love him dearly. We do role-playing games. Okay, so we're playing Dungeons and Dragons. He's playing an elf and he is drunk. So his elf had some very elven name. So I just kept calling his character Keith. Okay? Like, Keith, we got to go, Keith. And like, it just slowly became a curse, right? Like, Keith, what are you doing? And so when we got over doing the comic, I'm like, putting that in. Now everyone cusses by saying Keith. And I'm feeling that like once we get to the trade, it'll make sense.
Mhm.
It's individual issues. Bless your heart for being like, you know what? I'm going to take Keithan as my nickname.
Love it, man.
One
But,
thing. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, please.
No. I was going to ask because, like I said, we're this is all parallel, like a parallel universe, multiverse, or whatever. But podcasts, like as far as the topics. But I was wondering, like, what about the concept of like parallel universes or realities? What aspects of that concept do you try to bring forth in the series, or what about this made you decide to do like these parallel tell this type of story?
Yeah, I mean, I think
John, go first.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, some of it was born out of this idea of, I mean, this project's like over a decade and a half old, like really. I mean, so it's and so Egg and I would talk same as you and I, Robert. We talk comics and ideas and stories or whatever, and kind of grew out of this what if scenario.
Yeah.
This idea of like, what if the grass was greener, or what if it's not greener?
Yeah.
And then Egg hit up with the idea of like, well, what if we do that, but because we had no money, so it's like, well, what if we had 2 art teams, and then each of us wrote a different part? So like obviously we're editing each other and we're talking about the story, but it's going to feel super different than if you just had one art team trying to do 2 different things or whatever. And I think that all of that kind of led to that idea of, this is how the sliders, a lot of times they slide to just different versions of San Francisco, right? So it's the same sets, it's the same whatever. With this, it's like, no, we're not only going from like a fantasy world where like technology has lost the game. Now we're going to go to almost the complete opposite, which is a futuristic world where tech is everything, but like there's still we have aliens and we have all this stuff that like the other more steampunky kind of thing doesn't have. So I think that it was born out of both conversations. How can we actually do this comic, like the real world part, and then how do we make this where we both have our own voice, and we're not overriding one another.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the things that I love. There's a transition, like maybe like halfway through. So you have like 25 pages, and then like issue page 14 or like 13 is when you kind of switch over to. So like rather than dedicating like issue 1 to this world or issue 2 to the other world, the fact that, and so I need people to understand how impressive this is for y'all coming at this, and also with the art team, that being able to find your own voice with each of the scripts that you're writing, but then also the same thing with the tone, because the art also is going to inform the tone of what you're doing to a certain extent. I don't see even the big 2 doing that, right? So I think that should be kind of applauded. And you just applaud it, because it's a really cool feat to see. And you also, as a reader, are getting double for one issue, right? So I like that, because I think most people might come to this expecting, one world, other world, one world, other world, and then like issue 5, if you were doing issue 5, be like where it all comes together. So as a writer, that's pretty cool to hear that, that's how y'all are coming at this, and I think it works really well.
Well, spoiler alert for the third issue, because the first two issues is very much half the comics kind of in one world, half the comic is in another, and there's hard split between the two. As the story's progressing, his things are starting to get bad in both worlds, and those two worlds are starting to collide a little bit, and so there's a little more of cuts between the worlds. So you may only spend a couple of pages in one world and then jump to the other world and then jump back. And so to try to mirror the kind of frantic pieces of his life spiraling out of control, we're like, okay, now we've got to do it. It's got to be like this a little bit more than, and hopefully, because we had those first two issues and you've had roughly 24 pages in each world already. Now, the audience will be willing to go on the little more crazy part of the ride as we try to bring it all into the stables.
I'm gonna. So John mentioned this is well over a decade in the making. You're talking about the other dream worlds, right? Not necessarily other dimensions, but other dream worlds. There are three other stories that at some point in time, because I've been the holdup here, that I have tried to do. The very original artist that we had working on this, that did not work out, but turned in a lot of pages. Then I tried to draw. I'm not an artist. It's really bad. But that was different, right? And did a different story for that. So different universe. Then we tried this one. It was a different universe. I got another friend that tried it. That did not work out. Finally got Roland's for my part. So each time I didn't just say, well, here's the same script. Let's try it all again. Tried to tailor it to the artist and also to make a new universe. So there's a lot of like Easter eggs that only I and John will ever see because those didn't work out. But John all along was working with Edgar Salazar, who is an amazing artist. He's a professional comic book artist today. Does a lot of work for Dark Horse. Has drawn most of the Stranger Things comics.
Oh, wow.
So his work is amazing. It's his very early stuff, but it's still great. Roland's, who draws my part of it, I really like because it's still got that realistic tone that Edgar has, but it's grittier. It looks more cyberpunk. The world's supposed to be worse. John's world's a lot brighter, a lot happier. And the two have a nice contrast without being night and day different art styles.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
nice. Yeah, Rain, did you have anything? Because I don't want to.
Well, just the cast of characters. I don't want to get, I guess, maybe too deep because I don't want to spoil anything. But I do. When you think of let's just say like the X-Men, you got your psychic, you got your powerhouse strength person, you have all these roles that people fit into. This story, however, does not feel paint by numbers, and that's not even a dig at anyone where that is the story that you give. To the point where, and I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a certain hairy, furry person or entity that I immediately fell for, and I don't care if they're evil or good. I want to know, because it's so, because that in particular, they're not extreme, so to speak, because I feel like you could have easily gone with like, look at this, I don't know, Optimus Prime version of this thing, and it's not, and that's what I think also makes it so effective, like that particular character, because they are so simple, so to speak. I don't know, I think at this point I'm rambling, but like that, I was like, I expected the unexpected, because I was like, what's going on here? But to wrap it up, I love the character work in both worlds. I like how they match each other, but then they're also different. And I think that you could strip the art from it, and I think the story still holds, and I think vice versa. You could strip the words from it, and I think you can infer a lot from just the art. So I think phenomenal job with both. Like together is this marriage of a wonderful book, sure, but I think separately I may get some details wrong, but I think I could possibly get the gist of the story, and I think that's really the strength in the storytelling with this project. So, yeah.
One less John. As long as we got cats in it, we're good.
Okay, I didn't want to spoil.
They're on the covers, so we're good.
That was so fun. That was so fun.
That came about because when we did the Kickstarter, one of the reward levels was get drawn into the book. And the individual that picked that reward was like, I don't want to be drawn in the book. Draw my cats.
Oh, wow.
And my artist was like, cool. Cats are easy to draw. Send me some pictures.
That is so dope. I love that. It's like we have this big like crustacean, but then you got this cat that's just a regular house cat. He's like, it was like a general or so. I was like, bro, this is so cool. I love that. I love that.
It really worked out. Really worked out.
I love that. So
one thing I was going to ask, are there, so after this 4th issue, I'm pretty sure like this story is, it's going to be kind of done, but are there any plans to like revisit either any of these worlds, and then also have y'all thought about like doing this as prose, as a book, as fiction, set within, because I think both of them, lend themselves to, to a book, like I could see a novella or a short story, a series of short stories set between these worlds, focusing on the certain hairy character that you mentioned, Ray mentioned. So any plans, for future comics or even books, to come into this world?
No, it's a fair question. So we have had some discussion about something after this in terms of doing maybe another story or something, but we never got more than like, hey, maybe we should get this one done first. In terms of prose, I tried that for a minute. It turned out that was not Egg's strength. And I left that to John. So if there ends up being any prose, I will just be the reader.
Okay. What about for you, John? Any desire to write any books like?
I mean, maybe. And sorry, my internet blipped there for a minute, but I think that, like Egg was saying, kind of the big push is to get this story done, since it's been this thing that's kind of been in the background of life for so long. So I feel like if I was going to do a story, it would probably be, maybe it would be a similar concept, but it wouldn't be with the same characters. Maybe spin off that idea into something else. But hopefully the 4 issues gives a satisfying conclusion to the story, to the point that like maybe let the man live one life, maybe not ruin all his lives. But I mean, as you well know, I mean, I love the parallel world thing anyway, so I've definitely dabbled in that on other things that I've written. So I'm never going to stray too far from that, regardless.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you might have to cross over.
There you
go. I got 10 more pages, John. I got it. I got 10 more pages. It's coming. But yeah. So, give our listeners or viewers, information about the Kickstarter, when it'll launch, and I guess any, rewards that they should look out for.
Yeah, so we're launching basically around noon on Wednesday. So this Wednesday, I don't know exactly when y'all's episodes comes out, but it'll be October 8th. So hopefully it'll be live basically by the time they go. If you do a search of In Our Dreams Awake #3, it should take you to the Kickstarter page. And as far as the rewards, we don't have a ton of like extraneous ones. I feel like we've kind of like pared it down to, we have our kind of main fantasy cover. We have a cover that's the cyberpunk cover that actually is modeled after the $6 Million Man, one of those images. We have Ketchup reward levels. So like if you missed any of the, issue 2 or issue 1, or any of the covers there, we do have a drawn into the comics, since, like I said, we're 90% done with issue 4. The actual outstanding thing would be a couple of pages devoted to the cameos of any characters that get drawn in, and
or their cats.
Or their cats, as always. And, otherwise, like, there are some add-ons of just, other comics that I've worked on, other things that Egg's worked on that you can, do for the campaign. But, yeah, overall, like I said, the initial goal is just $500, and that's really to cover the print cost. Because it's a story that, I know everybody says this, but it's like a story we believe in. It's a story I want to get out there. I want people to read it. So, it's like if that's the biggest goal, then let's get there as best we can,
Nice.
So.
Nice. Well, everybody pledge, share, and pledge and share some more. So,
yeah, absolutely. We'll take all the help we can get. We appreciate y'all letting us come on and promote it and talk some sliders in the meantime too.
Yes,
no, we appreciate y'all. This is the first time we've done this for sliders, right?
Yeah.
I think like Rain used to, you and Cole used to open doors for Black Lightning Matters for guests to come on and talk about that. But for this is the first time. So we appreciate y'all coming on, talking about sliders and, giving us the rundown on In Our Dreams Awake. So we appreciate that. And,
awesome.
And I hope y'all fun the first day, the first day of the first week.
All the fingers crossed on that.
Yes, indeed. Well, this will actually go up on that day. I think it may be like, don't give me the line, but maybe like 7, 8 in the morning that day. So if you're viewing or listening to this, the link will be in the show notes for Kickstarter for the 3rd issue. So go ahead and hit that link and get us to that goal. Yes, indeed.
I think I think we're about to slide up out of here. There you go. Right.
See what you did there.
Yeah. See, they pay me for this.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, we will. Well, one, thank you guys so much for joining us on this slide. And we open invitation, please return when you'd like. Jump back on the timer whenever you're ready. We are here and happy for you. And again, listeners, you heard this more than once. Pledge. Go to the link. Kick and start. Go in front and me.
You didn't even say share. You said pledge.
Yeah, I mean share. Sure, share what you have pledged. No, so yes,
this is a smart gentleman. You should all listen to him.
I'm saying. So we're definitely going to have those links there. And again, we appreciate y'all. And then Robert, I guess let the folks know where they can find you, and then we can bounce on out.
Yeah, we can. Well, y'all can find me at robertkjeffrey.com, robertkjeffrey.com on Instagram. I am robertk.jeffrey, and on Bluesky, something. And because I've been actually streaming on Twitch, my username on there is SyncRKJ, so SYNCH RKJ. We've been running, the Division 2, which has been pretty fun. So yeah, check me out on Twitch. But yeah, those are all the places you can find me. Thanks again for y'all being here.
Thank you for having us so much.
Absolutely, we really appreciate it.
Of course. Well, we'll go ahead and make sure add those links in the show notes, and then your Twitch, Robert. The Kickstarter, of course, will be there, and then follow me. Just CarefreeBlackNerd, Carefree Blur, wherever. Just search it. The links will be in the show notes. I don't know what my handles are. I just log on to these apps. I'm sorry. So I don't know. I guess until next time, stay carefree, stay nerdy, stay geeky, and stay kicking and starting the Kickstarter. Stay doing it. I'm not going to stop yelling. Stay doing that, sliders. All right, y'all.